land of Canada shall bring forth great things.
Oh.
I claim the soil, it shall favor me. Everything I want shall come to pass.
Amen.
I inherit the land of
Ah,
Canada.
somebody's land.
All the good things are coming. All the good things. I'm favored.
Oh,
There's
amen.
opportunities that open unto me. I claim the land. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Somi here again. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for clicking. And I hope you consider subscribing. Join the family. Hit the subscribe button down below. I am excited to let you guys know that I am now a permanent resident of Canada. I am so excited. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. It's been a long time coming, and I just want to use this video to kind of share the journey and how I got to this point. But of course, all glory to God. My PR process itself was about what's almost 2 years, I would say. But then that's all this video is going to be about, sharing my journey to becoming a permanent resident of Canada to you guys. It's really long. Where do I even start from? Because it's such a long journey. I don't want to confuse you guys. I don't want to confuse myself. So if you see me look down, it will be because I'm trying to stick to the timeline and not mislead you guys. Let's start with some background, right? I came into Canada in January of 2021. I came in as an international student to study a 2-year program. Now, if you want to, become a permanent resident at the long run, you have to make sure that the school you're going to is a DLI. What's a DLI? Designated Learning Institution. There's a website, the link will be down below. So make sure, go on the website, make sure that your school has a DLI number. If your school is a designated learning institution, they will have a number. Secondly, you guys heard me say I came in to study a 2-year program, okay? Now, why this is important is because after I graduated from my 2-year program, I was able to get a 3-year work permit. Why is this important? If you come in to study a 1-year program, you will get a 1-year work permit. And trust me, no one wants to be in that kind of time crunch. You do not want to do that to yourself. Like you heard me say at the beginning of the video, my PR journey itself, like the PR journey itself, minus school and work, was almost a 2-year journey. So imagine if I came in to study a 1-year program and then got a 1-year work permit. How would I have done it? I would have had so much pressure. Granted, there are people who have done it like within that 1 year, but it's not an easy thing to do. So if you can, please come in and study a 2-year program. There are people who will come in with a 1-year program and then extend their work permit and do an additional 1-year program so that it accumulates to 2 years of study and they get 3 years work permit. That route works as well. Now, I think the only exception is there are certain master's program that when you do them for 1 year, you still qualify for the 3 years. I don't know a lot about that, but I have a friend who came in, he studied 1 year master's, and it's usually very intense, Like he said that 1 year, like he was only seeing school walls. Like it's usually very, very intense 1-year programs. And then they are eligible for a 3-year work permit. So you just do your research, make sure that what you're coming for will be able to grant you that. I started in 2021 and I graduated in April of 2023, and I got the 3-year postgraduate work permit. So here is now where the PR journey begins. So fast forward to October 2023, I decided that it was time to start getting this PR game rolling and not dilly-dally, okay? So I opened my Express Entry profile. So what's an Express Entry profile? Express Entry is the online system that the government of Canada uses to process permanent residence application. Okay, let me just give a disclaimer. First of all, I'm not an immigration consultant, and secondly, there are several pathways to getting permanent residence. I'm talking about the pathway that I used. I opened my express entry profile, and immediately I opened it, I qualified for 2 categories. I qualified for Canadian experience class, and I qualified for the federal skilled worker. And at that point, my score was 464. In order for you to have an express entry profile, there's so many important things that you need to do, but one very crucial thing that you need is your CELPIP. CELPIP is an English proficiency exam. You can have an equivalent of it. If you do not have an English proficiency test, you will not be able to create a profile. So at this point, my express entry profile was still very fresh. I was still very new into the system. So now I'm just going to tell you some things that you can do in this waiting period, because now this is the waiting period. It's, in fact, permanent residence, at least for the bulk of it, is a waiting game, right? You create your profile, you do what you need to do, and you sit and wait to be called. Okay, so here are some things to do. These things you can do before, but if you haven't done it, this waiting time is also a good time for you to do it and get these documents ready. These are not all the documents that I prep, by the way. These are just the things that you can do in this waiting period. Number 1, get your police report, because you're going to need your police report eventually. If you've lived in any country, I believe, for more than 6 months, I think since you were 18 or so, you have to provide a police report for that country. So you need to get your police report ready. Again, remember that when you are called to apply for your permanent residence, I think you have about 60 days or so to submit all the documents that they have requested of you. I just have to mention this because if you're maybe trying to get from a country that you know it will take time. I lived in Ukraine. You guys. These guys almost wanted to show me shege. When I applied for my Ukraine police report, like this was when I got my invitation to apply, it took them months. In fact, these people did not send me the police report I requested for until after I had gotten my permanent residence. Are you wondering how I did it, Abby? Don't worry. When we get there, the story is too long. Anyway, so if you know you've lived in certain countries that it might take a longer time for you to get the police report for that country, it's important for you to start early. Another major thing to prepare during this waiting period, if you haven't done it already, I did this one beforehand, is your WES. WES means World Education Services. So if you schooled in Nigeria, and obviously you're applying for your permanent residence in Canada, what WES does is to check that your certificate in Nigeria is up to par with the Canadian standard. So remember I told you guys that at this point, my score in the express entry was 464. So I waited for a few months, knowing that the scores that they were calling were pretty high. October, November, December. I was like, Bear in mind, I have 3 years work permit. So I was like, no rush. I can wait. January came. So many immigration policies, immigration rules coming up. You know, you're just in that phase where you're kind of antsy and you're not exactly sure, like, okay, what, like, because at this point I had done everything that I could do to boost my score, but I knew once I hit 1 year of work experience, my score was going to go up to 500 and something. But you know, I was still in that place where I'm like, I'm not sure. Do I wait? How long do I wait? So I started thinking of a second option. Okay, I don't want to just wait around, right? So what can I do in this time that I'm waiting? My score is just 464 right now. So you guys, I then decided that I was going to do the Provincial Nominee Program, PNP. Now, let me tell you why I was a bit hesitant to do the PNP, BC PNP specifically. I was hesitant because, one, with the PNP, you have to stay in the province that gave you the nomination. So what PNP really is the province that you're in nominates you for permanent residence. That's pretty much what it is. So provincial nominee program. Now the sweet thing about a province nominating you is that with the nomination comes 600 points. Okay, so that is like 600 points will get you like all the permanent residence that you need, right? So imagine me having 464 points plus 600 points. What else am I looking for? So you get why I wanted to do the PNP and not wait around. They were calling ridiculously high scores at that point. One of the like drawbacks and why people kind of hesitate is that you have to stay in the province that nominates you for at least 2 years, I believe. It's because the province nominated you, right? So it wouldn't be fair for you to get the nomination and then leave the province. Like you're supposed to kind of add to the economic situation of the province. You get what I mean? Anyways, after much deliberation, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for this PNP instead of just sitting around and waiting to be called. So in February of, I'm looking down because I'm looking at my phone. So in February of 2024, I applied for PNP. I got the invitation in February of 2024, but I actually applied in March. So I didn't apply until March 10th, 2024. Mind you guys, don't forget that October of 2023, I already opened an express entry profile. That was still there. I did not close down that account. That account is still there because with the PNP, what happens is when you get the nomination and the 600 points, you then take those points and add it to your express entry profile and then continue your application from there. There's another pathway, the non-express entry PNP. That's a different pathway. You don't need an express entry profile for that, but yeah, that's a different path. Okay, so I'm just gonna be on my phone now and just kind of go down the timeline for you guys at this point. So now May comes around, May of 2024, and now this is my 1 year of working in Canada as a work permit holder. So I go and update my express entry profile that I've reached 1 year. So at that point, after I updated my express entry profile, I got to 517 points, which is amazing. You know what? At this point, yeah, I'd already even paid for the PNP application. So I was like, you know what? I'm already doing the PNP anyways. I don't even know if I need this extra points that I just got. But I was like, okay, cool. It's fine. July comes around, July 11th specifically of 2024, I received my PNP nomination. So I was like, hooray. And that meant I now had 600 points that I could take into my express entry profile to boost my score up to like 1,000 and something. On July 16th, I finally got an invitation to apply for permanent residence, like officially, because now I had 600 points because they did an official provincial nominee draw. So for everyone that had provincial nomination, they did a specific draw for that on July 16th, and that was how I got an invitation because I had a provincial nomination. So it was just perfect timing. July 11th, I got my invitation, got my nomination. July 16th, I got invited to apply for my permanent residence. Now here's the little thing that happened in between, and it's like so crazy. Remember how I was talking about trying to decide if I should wait for express entry for my score to be called or not? Can you guys imagine? This is just crazy because July 16th, I got my invitation to apply with the provincial nomination, and you have to accept or reject that invitation because it's an invitation, so you accept it or you reject it. So obviously with excitement and everything, that same July 16th, that evening, I accepted the invitation because why would I not accept the invitation? I had been waiting for this. And now guess what happened? July 17th, there was a CEC draw. Remember, CEC is Canadian Experience Class. There was a CEC draw and the minimum score was 515. And what was my score with the express entry pool? It was 517. So if I had waited one more day, I would have been left with a dilemma of either going with PNP or just continuing with my express entry, because my score was part of the scores that they called for the CC. So literally a day apart. But anyways, I had already accepted the PNP on July 16th. Obviously, it's only one profile I have. I've accepted one thing, the other thing cannot come in again. You get what I mean? So I was just like, wow. So if I just waited one more day, I might have just gone with the CC. God's plans, God's timing, and God's will. So I was like, cool. I've accepted my PNP. Let me continue with this process, because at this point I don't have any choice because I've already accepted it. So I just wanted to give you guys that little thing there. So let me just continue with the timeline. Remember, I got the invitation to apply July 16th and I accepted. When you accept, then now you have to submit all the documents that you need. So I didn't submit everything until July 30th. So about 14 days it took me to get all the documents that I needed to apply. And this is why in your waiting period, it's important for you to gather as much documents as you can. There was one particular document that, and it's just from my employer or the same city, it's not even a different country, because you get from other countries that you've worked in as well. So keep that in mind. So start gathering. I knew my Nigerian document that I knew that I would need from my Nigerian employer. I got that like since months because I didn't want story. But then there was this particular document from my employer in this same city that I'm in. It took them almost 2 weeks to send me that one document. I think someone was on vacation, someone came back and they were trying to, I'm like, what's going on, guys? Just send me this document. So gather all the documents that you can and let me know if you want me to film a documentation video so you kind of know and have an idea, so you can gather those types of documents as well. Then September 17th, they requested for my biometrics. So September 18, I went to get my biometrics. Remember how I mentioned that my Ukraine police clearance thing wanted to mess me up? I had to reach out to the consulate of Ukraine here in Canada. So I reached out to them, and these people, it was only like a few months ago, which was after I got my permanent residence, that they sent me the police clearance. I'm like, are you guys serious? I don't even need this again. So how did I do this? I just thank God for foresight, because before I left Ukraine, and this is back in 2018, I don't know, for some reason, me and a couple other people were like, you know what, you guys, let's get police clearance from these people. Like at that point, I wasn't even applying for any Canadian visa or whatever. I knew maybe in the future I was going to apply, but I didn't necessarily know all the documents that I'll need. So just thankful to God for foresight, because I did not need the police clearance then, right? So, but I did it. I got police clearance because, I'm done with school here. I'm going to leave this country very soon. I might as well just get a police clearance of my stay in that country. So it's probably something I want to keep in mind. If you're leaving a country after staying in that country if you stay there for more than 6 months, maybe get a police clearance and you have that in your pocket and you leave the country, because you never know. Let me tell you, this police clearance that I have from Ukraine, even before this Canadian permanent residence application, this police clearance, I've used this police clearance not once, not twice, not 3 times for job applications. Because when you finally get a job offer, they want to do police clearance, criminal check. They'll ask you all the countries you've lived in, because they always want to do a background check. Have a police clearance for every country that you have lived in. So back to the story, right, of this police clearance, because this application is one of the most important applications I've ever done. So I needed a police clearance. So I actually uploaded the police clearance that I had since 2018. But you know how when you're reading up things online, you go to all those forums and you're reading, and I saw a lot of comments that said that, they don't accept police clearance if it's been a certain amount of time that you've had the police clearance, or if you were still in the country when you got the police clearance. And I was still in the country when I got it. So, and I stayed in the country at least 2 months before leaving the country, right? After getting the police clearance. So I was like, I think I need a new police clearance. But I did not wait. I didn't say I was going to wait for a new police clearance. So what I did was, I thank God, I uploaded the police clearance that I had on me, the one from 2018, but I also requested for a new one from the Ukraine consulate here in Canada. Why did I bring that up? Because October 4th of 2024, IRCC requested for a translation of my document, and honestly, I own this one. I was one who messed up here because, of course, if any document you're submitting is not in English or in French, remember Canada has 2 official languages, English and French. Okay, so if any document you're submitting is not in English or is not in French, you have to provide a translation for that document. So don't make the same mistake that I made. Thankfully, it was a small mistake, and they sent me an email and told me to provide a translation for the document. Right, so I was like, oh my gosh, I did not provide it because the police clearance is completely Ukrainian language. I wasn't even thinking. I just uploaded it without translation. So October 7th, I submitted the translation. October 21st, I got a notification on the portal that my background verification was completed, which is great. So they didn't find any like criminal record, criminal history from any country that I'd lived in. And then October 23rd, so what happens when it's like when you're at the final stage of getting your permanent residence is they open a different account for you. There's something called IRCC Permanent Residence Confirmation Portal. It's called the PR Confirmation Portal. So you receive an email, they open a different account for you. So that one is just for those that are about to get their permanent residence. And then I had to confirm that I'm in Canada. So October 4th, they asked me to confirm where I was, whether I was outside of Canada or in Canada. And they also asked me to upload my photo. This photo showed me Shege. It's too bright, it's too dark, it's too this. Actually mine was too bright. I uploaded like 2 pictures. They said it's too bright. This is my forehead here. Every time, it happens to me all the time. Even when I went to take a photo for US visa, this part of my forehead here is always shiny. So they're like, it's too bright. So I had to go retake photos. See, I put powder and make sure that my face was not bright at all. And then I uploaded it. And then you see in review, because they have to review the photo. Like at first, when you upload it, they'll let you know immediately if it's good or bad, right? Then you now re-upload. So by the time you upload and they say in review, you're kind of almost good to go, to be fair. But this in review was in review for a long time. This is November that I submitted. I confirmed that I'm in Canada and I submitted my photo. And then in January, this is November, or from November. And then in January of 2025, I got my electronic confirmation of permanent residence. Once you get that, that's just the electronic version. You don't have the physical card. By February 11th, I got my PR card in the mail. Okay, you guys, I'm so tired. Like that was so long. Let me just give some tips to round up this video. I think one of the first things I would hit on is find out and make sure that the company you're working for can assist you with your permanent residence application. Okay, especially now with the express entry draws being ridiculously high. There are other pathways you might want to consider, like the PNP pathway that I used. With a PNP, you need your company's support. And when I say support, it's not like they're paying anything, right? There are a lot of documents that they have to provide. They are providing their corporate certification, their license, they are filling out some documents for you. So you need, and their companies, trust me, as little as this thing sounds, filling out documents, providing a copy or photocopy of their company license, there are a lot of companies that do not do this. Like, I know people that they have asked their manager to sign some documents for them for their permanent residence application, and the manager has outrightly said no, that they don't touch permanent residence application. I don't understand it. Maybe if you work for a company and you don't do it, explain. Like, because they'll just tell you, no, we don't touch permanent residence, so we don't know much about it, we don't want to get in trouble, or without even knowing or understanding much about it, they just hands off. They're like, we don't do it, or we don't want to start it. And some people are like, if they start doing it for one person, they have so many applicants. What if more people come to them to fill out these documents? So a lot of companies avoid it. You'll be surprised how many companies avoid assisting their employees with permanent residence documentation, right? So if you're working anywhere, you have to find out and make sure that your employer supports permanent residence application, especially if you're doing the PNP application, because when you're doing PNP, there's a lot more that your employer needs to provide. For the other pathways, it's usually just like a reference letter or confirmation that you worked there, okay? Do not chase money over your permanent residence, okay? Because there are some people that they find work somewhere because maybe they're getting paid good money. They're like, I'm going to be working here and be getting paid good money. I'm like, your company, do they help with permanent residence? There are certain points in your life where you have to know what to chase, right? Don't be going for money, or you just want to make the money. Okay, yes, but do they help with the permanent residence? If they don't, like, I would happily take a lower paying job that helps with permanent residence than a high paying job that does not help with permanent residence. Okay, so by the time your work permit expires, what next? Okay, fine. Except you don't want the permanent residence, so then fine, good. Your work permit expires. Bye, right? So what happens? Because the money is not going to save you when your status expires in Canada. Don't chase status over your permanent residence application. There are some jobs that might not sound nice or pleasant to the ear, but they help with the permanent residence application, right? There's some jobs that you might not necessarily want to do. I understand that, yes, we want to build our careers and all of that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because there are a number of career jobs that can help with it, right? But sometimes it's the non-fancy job that might be willing to help you with your permanent residence. So don't chase money or status over your permanent residence application. You have to know which one will get me my permanent stay, if you want. And again, that's if you want to become a permanent resident of Canada. Okay. So the next tip I'll give is read everything for yourself. Okay. Everything, all the information that you need for permanent residence, even if you're a student or you're on work permit, every information that you need is on the Canadian website. Okay, all you need to do is read, do your research, right? Now, except your case is very complicated, maybe, and this, in fact, maybe I should even say this, but I'll wait. Except your case is really complicated, you don't need to necessarily go hire agencies. Because I've seen people like they just finish school, or they just get their work permit, and they're like, do you know any agent that I can hire? I'm like, why are you looking for an agent to hire and go and pay 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 or more, sometimes Canadian dollars, to this person that will do the exact same thing that you do? I'm not saying, yeah, sure, if you feel like you don't want to lift a finger, you don't want to do anything, you have the money to dispense, for sure, go for it. But I've seen a good number of people that could have, I'm like, why did you get an agent? You don't even have a complicated case. All you needed to do was just do this yourself. There's no need to hire an agent that would not even do anything. You will end up being the one to do all the job, because you're the one gathering all the documents and then what, they will just upload it for you. Okay, so what's the point of the agent anyways? This is not to like bring down people that do agency work and all of that. Like, if you want it, go for it. But I'm just saying that I've seen a number of people waste money unnecessarily, right? And I think it stems from the fact that people think it's complicated when it's not. If you just read for yourself, you would see and know that, okay, this is actually such a simple process. Oh, I just need to answer these questions. And when I answer these questions, they tell me the documents to upload. And then I upload the documents. As long as, you're not lying, again, you don't have a complicated case. And when I say complicated case, maybe you did not finish school, maybe you have a 1-year work permit. Remember I mentioned that you have a 1-year work permit, so you need help to fast track things. You didn't apply on time and now your status is almost expiring, so you need like professionals and whatnot. Yeah, so if your case is complicated, for sure, go for it. And then it leads me to my next point of do what you came here to do. And I came here as an international student, right? What would have happened if, I started school and then all I started doing was partying or just not going for classes? I failed courses and maybe I didn't graduate, or maybe I failed woefully, right? Like, what would have happened at that point? So it's important to do what you came to do so that you don't end up having a complicated case. If you came to study, make sure that you accomplish that, right? You know the rules of studying, you know how many hours you're supposed to be working, you know the rules that you need to live by when you're a student. Do that, study and complete that assignment that you've been given. Do what you came here to do it well, so that when it's time for that next stage or that next phase of your immigration status, it wouldn't be much of a hassle because you've successfully completed the first step or a certain stage and you're now on to the next, so that it will just be smooth sailing for you. Okay. And then the last tip I'll give before I let you guys go is cross-check. I told you guys about me submitting a document that did not have any translation accompanied with it. Huge blunder. I don't know how I missed that. So cross-check, check all your documents, check all the answers that you're given, because, make sure everything correlates. You remember that maybe you came as a student, or so the answers that you're giving, don't gonna be giving answers that by the time they check your study application, different things, or the documents you're uploading, the dates are off, there's no translation. Just cross-check everything that you're submitting so that they don't come back to you saying, oh, you need to fix this, and that's more time being wasted for you. And these days, honestly, from what I've heard, I don't know how true this is, but apparently these days when they see a mistake, they just reject it without really asking. But I don't want to believe that, because I know, like, from history, the immigration officers are really good at coming back to you and saying, hey, this doesn't look right, can you provide this? Or like in my case, can you provide a translation, right? Obviously, social media people will try to make you think that they're just rejecting documents left, right, and center. If you upload anything wrong, they just reject it. I don't want to believe that that's true, but at the same time, you just need to be wary, especially with the times that we're in, policy changing, everyone's really antsy, things like that. So just make sure you cross-check everything, make sure that you're in good standing, so that your application will go smoothly and there will be no hiccups, or at least there won't be a lot of hiccups. So yeah, that's really it for the video, guys. Whew, I feel like I spoke too much. Again, there's more that I can go into. I didn't talk about all the documents that I submitted, even the pricing, because permanent residence is quite expensive, okay? Okay, you spend some money. So let me know if you guys want a part 2 of this, so I can round this up. If you want to. My mouth is paining me already, so if you don't want to, it's fine. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I wish all of you luck and thank you guys so much. I'll see you in my next video. Make sure you drop comments on the kind of video that you want me to film and I'll be more than happy to do so. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.